Hey guys, welcome back to Bolt and Bone. Where precision rifles meet Western hunting. Today we got Taylor Haught on with Haught Rifle Development. Been checking out his Instagram. He makes some awesome rifles, some precision hand loads, and yeah, I think he does some training on the side. Is that correct?
It is, yeah, that's what we do.
Awesome, awesome. So Taylor, can you just introduce yourself? Tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got in your passion for rifles and how you got into building them.
Yeah, that's actually a really funny story. But give me a couple minutes and I can kind of get through it. I grew up hunting, as early as I can remember, hunting with my dad, my brothers, and any opportunity we had. Um, there was a very significant point in my life. It was my junior year in high school, and I drew a very coveted elk tag, and it was just my dad and I, and you also got to remember my dad, the way he grew up, very cowboy, very old fashioned. Your horseback, you bust the deer or elk, whatever, and you shoot them horseback, or you just hurry up and off the hip and shoot them from 50, 60 yards, right? So
That's
that
awesome.
was kind of my mentality, kind of growing up, is you just got to work harder and go further and bust the brush. And
Yeah.
so my junior year in high school, I drew this really coveted elk tag, and we get out of the truck, and I just happened to go to this edge, and I started glassing. It was a very far ridge. Far is relative, right?
Yeah.
So I look, and I'm like, Dad, there's a huge elk. There's a big bull. So I lay down. I get on the really good shooting spot. And he's like, okay, hey, go ahead. I literally shot 16 times,
Oh
and
gosh.
I say that jokingly, because I never even saw where the impacts were. Like, this was a rifle from the 50s. I
Oh, that's awesome.
I do remember him putting the scope on it. It was a Simmons 3x9. We got it at a store called Yellow Front, a very old store. I don't know if they had them in Colorado where you're at, but
Yeah.
just
No.
kind of like a general store almost.
Okay.
And I think they paid $70 for it, and had no concept whatsoever on dialing or range finders or anything like that. So you can probably guess what happened.
Oh yeah.
I was unsuccessful. I mean, had no idea. I'm sure that the elk stood there for like 3 minutes and never moved. It's just hearing bullets whiz every direction.
Impacts weren't
So
even close.
yeah. So you know what? That was a very humbling, a very humbling experience for me, because that was an opportunity that I missed. And of course,
Yep.
as hunters, we have nightmares about that. And that, honestly, that really kicked off my pursuit of understanding how to be a better hunter, understanding um, guns and equipment, and what it took to be able to make a shot like that. And by the way, I've since gone back to that place actually numerous times, and I've ranged it, and it was a little over 800 yards.
Oh
So
wow.
you can imagine
Yeah.
just putting your crosshairs on the shoulder of that elk, with the hope and a prayer, not even coming anywhere close to it. So,
Yep. That
um,
is a poke.
yep,
That's
that's a little bit
awesome.
of a poke.
Yeah.
So then again, I've always loved hunting. It's been a very big passion of mine. Um, and then in as I got in my adult life, I started guiding for a really good friend of mine, Jay Platt of G3 Outfitters. They're predominantly in New Mexico, but they do have operations in Texas and Arizona as well. And
Okay.
so keep in mind, I had that experience as a junior in high school, and then I started having these other experiences with other adults, and they come to these hunts out west, and whether they're from, flatlanders from Oklahoma or Texas or Pennsylvania, whatever it was. And I really have these really good um, relationships with these folks, but I also get to see them have some really missed opportunities. And I've got lots of stories, some of them funny, some of them that make you pull your hair out. I actually have a video on YouTube of where I interview the hunter right after um, he had missed and he had his gun jammed, and I was yelling at him. It was a recap of this story, but I've had lots of those instances where, you know, myself as a junior in high school, and really, still to this day, I'm constantly trying to pursue and be a better hunter and a better marksman.
Yep.
But what I've learned is that, and let me back up just a little bit. The reason why I call my rifle business Hot Rifle Development and not like Hot Precision or just Hot Rifles is because
Yep.
we're trying to develop, and that word develop really, you never achieve perfection. It's a pursuit, it's a chase of perfection. And so I looked at it, and I did, after my own experiences and guiding, many different hunters. I realized that we need to develop not only just really good rifles, not only develop and understand how to use really good equipment, but we got to develop the hunter too. And
Yep.
so those are my three things that are important to us: is having a good rifle, having good equipment, and then knowing how to use it in any condition, any weather situation whatsoever. So that's a little bit of a prelude and an introduction of how hot rifle development came about, and what
Awesome.
my background is.
Awesome. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I guide here in Western Colorado, and we have some clients. They have the best custom guns you could think of, but they have no idea how to shoot them. They have no idea how to build a position. You can tell that they've only shot on a bench, and it really shows. So as you've probably seen that. So I like how you develop the hunter, um, just not the just not the rifle and the ammo, but the hunter as well. So what do you guys do? Like how do you go about developing the hunter in your classes you run?
I think, you know, for me, it's more about, I want them to be comfortable. The number one thing is they've got to be comfortable in whatever position they are.
Yep.
And they also need to recognize what their boundaries are, what their capabilities are,
Yep.
at the time we start training, and then we need to push them. I posted a video on Instagram, I don't know, maybe 8, 9, 10 months ago, and it was for a rifle that I built for a guy. It was on a Dall sheep hunt, and we were practicing out to 1,378 yards. And someone in the
Oh
comment
wow.
section said, and someone in the comment section said, "Oh, that's unethical on a Dall sheep." And
Yeah.
and 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 although I probably agree with them to some degree, but that's not the point. Like,
Yeah.
those are the guys that don't. They're the ones that are going to have the problem at 500 yards or 600 yards because they're not willing to
Exactly.
practice at the long range. So,
Exactly.
and that's what I tell my clients is, if you can shoot consistently at 1,378 yards or whatever it may be, that 500-yard shot
It's gonna be a chip
is
shot.
nothing,
Yeah.
especially when your heart's pounding and you got a big bull or
Yep.
a big buck in your scope. That's nothing.
Yeah,
That's nothing.
exactly. Yeah. No, I had so I'm big into archery as well, and I had someone tell me years ago. I don't remember who it was, but the same thing. They were practicing long distance, and people were hounding them on, "Oh, that's unethical. It's so far." But he said, "I shoot long distance because half of that distance is a chip shot." So his theory was, if he can shoot, so we're going to archery terms, if he can shoot 100 yards, half of that is his max distance hunting. So he's comfortable at 50 yards. I kind of have taken that same thing into the rifle world. I was shooting this morning and I was shooting 1,200 yards. And then I had one shell left and I brought it into 400 yards and it was nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have the same experience when I guide archery hunters, and uh, one of the things that I love about when I'm guiding is I get to communicate with these guides, months in advance about their
Yep.
hunt, about, the quarry we're going after, and the situation. And that they're always asking, like, what should I do? What can I do to be better, be prepared? And for archery hunters, I tell them, shoot, all you need is one shot. And it's really the same with rifles too, right?
Yep.
Practice the one shot. Get
Yep.
up in the morning, walk outside, do 30 jumping jacks, do 20 push-ups so that your blood's going because you're hunting, you're chasing elk or whatever it
Yep.
is. Get your blood going, get your muscles tired, and then take your shot. And in
Exactly.
the and in the rifle world, it's a little different, right? Especially if you have capabilities to shoot at the longer ranges. But
Yep.
if you can't shoot at 1378, that 637-yard shot on a mule deer, it's out of the question. It's not going to happen.
Exactly.
So that's when I talk about developing hunters. That's what I'm talking about is
Okay.
giving them the training and the education and the opportunities with me behind them. Encouraging, pushing them,
Yep.
training, teaching. Um, the different ways to shoot those, and for me, as I'm guiding or I'm hunting, whether it's myself or my wife or my kids or a client, I'm going to fight to get in the prone position. Like that's number one.
Yep.
If that doesn't
I
work,
agree.
we're getting on a tripod and we're
Hmm.
setting the rifle up on an Arca rail, and so I want people to know how to shoot from both positions, but I always teach and train to fight. Do everything you can to get in the prone position.
Yep. I agree 100%. It's hard to get in the prone out here sometimes in the West. You
It
have
is.
oak brush and trees and all that. But if you can learn how to shoot off a tripod, you can get in any position on that. So it's
Yeah.
cool. And another thing about your, I'm going to call it cold bore shot. I think it's, I think hunters especially should track that cold bore shot. Like you said, do jumping jacks or something, get your heart rate up and shoot that because that's the only shot that matters. If you don't know where your cold bore is hitting, then you need to figure it out because
Exactly.
I have a range book and every time I go to the range, I do a cold bore shot and I have the position I did that day, the environmentals. So this morning I did prone one. That's just the one I picked this morning. And I mark it down in my range book, the yardage, the environmentals, where it hit, and I keep track of all that because that's the one shot that matters out there.
Yeah, and I'm actually glad you brought that up because as we were talking about, the archery, getting up and doing push-ups, like get your blood going,
Yep.
that's the equivalent in the rifle world is that cold bore shot.
Yep.
Get up, get to your range, and try different ranges. Don't do the same shot every time.
Yep.
Where I shoot, I can shoot at all different ranges, even out to like 1900 yards,
That's
2100 yards,
awesome.
and and the point that I'm making is if you can't make that cold bore shot at 750 yards, with you're laying down your conditions, you're basically you got home field advantage, your
Yep.
range. If you can't do that or not willing to do it, then don't do it out in the field. I think, and I'm not the
Exactly.
ethics. I am, and I never want to be the ethics police. However, I
Yeah.
think if someone wants to internally like, okay, what are my ethical ranges? Well, what are you ethically willing to do on a cold bore?
Exactly. And that's
But
I
no,
think yeah, I think a lot of people have no idea what they or their rifle equipment are capable of at a cold bore.
yeah, I did
Yep.
I did a cold bore challenge. I've actually done it a couple times. So if people
Okay.
see it, I do the 750 yards. I think 750 for me, um, on a cold bore, and to me that's you got one shot in a hunting
Yep.
situation, and it's a little bit long range. 750 is that's a poke, and
Yeah, that is a poke.
if you can get out there and be within 3 or 4 inches of hitting your target on a cold bore, no practice, right? You don't
Yep.
you don't get to see where the first no sighters. Go in and
Yep.
shoot. You know,
Yeah.
uh, Eric Cortina, who I love watching his videos, he does another one too.
Yeah.
He calls it the ethical hunting challenge,
Yeah, I
and
watch
it's
those all the time.
they're great. He does such a good
Yeah.
job. Very
Yeah,
entertaining. And his is 500 yards,
yeah,
and
500. Yep.
it's amazing to see how many people and good shooters with good equipment and hitting that. I don't know how big that
It's a 1
it
MOA
one
target.
MOA. So
Yeah,
we're
so
talking
it's
about 5 inch diameter.
yep. 5 inches at 500 yards. Yep.
Yeah, and it's
I know there's been some really good shooters on that and then there's been some that I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Like I just watched one, I don't know, it was last week maybe, and so he recently changed it up. So you used to have a cold bore and then 2 follow-ups. You still get to 2 follow-ups, but he counts down from 5 now. So your follow-ups have to be kind of quick.
yeah,
And this guy I watched, he shot the first shot was I think he missed the entire deer silhouette target. And then his second shot, he gut shot it, and then the third shot, gut shot it again. And I was like, my goodness.
Uh,
So,
have you had any funny experiences out in the field, like guiding? And maybe you don't want to share them because your
oh
client
no,
might see it, but
I have.
I
So
have one in particular. I'll share it after you share yours.
okay, yeah. So, see, I've been guiding for this. Uh, I wouldn't call it an outfitter. So I guide on oil field land here,
Okay.
and it's kind of it's private, so it's invite only. So we get a bunch of return hunters, which honestly I love because I text the guys weekly, my hunters, and I have them year after year after year. So they became family. So it's awesome. But this one guy, I won't mention any names. It was the first year I had him, and it was sleeting snow and raining. It honestly, it was pretty miserable. It was a third season rifle hunt. So it was beginning in November here in Colorado. And the night before we went out and scouted and we found this bull. So we focus on age over inches there. So this bull was old enough. We focus on 5 years older for elk. And we find this bull and he's a dang good bull. And I knew exactly where he was going to be in the morning. So we got up early and we hiked out there and we crest the top of this ridge. And I told them, I said, they're going to be right here. And with another guide was with me at the time because one of the hunters didn't show up or something. So anyway, he tagged along with us. So there's three of us, and we poke over and we're glassing, and there's 12 bulls in this like sagebrush draw at 400 yards. And we're trying to pick out the one that's the oldest. You know how us guides work. We're both glassing, and we're like, okay, it's the third one from the right. Do you see it? And he'd be like, I'm on it. And his gun's pointing this way. And I'm like, God. So I'm grabbing the buttstock of his gun and I'm turning it. And anyway, this goes on for probably 10 minutes. And he goes, I'm on the one I want to shoot. We're like, okay. So he shoots and I'm in my binos and I'm like, which one did he shoot at? You know? And they all take off running. They all take off running. And I'm like, all right, let's go. So we ran around the ridge and they were crossing this two trek in front of us at 50 yards. And I'm right behind him. I got him kneeling on a tripod. I'm right behind him. And he goes, I say to him, I said, I'll let you know when the big one's coming. He's the very last one. And this little 4 point bull comes up and he just stood for 5 seconds too long and he shot him. And I look back at the other guy and I'm like, oh gosh, because we're really big on age. Um, but anyway, so we get up to the bull. And I'm like, man, that was a great shot. One shot, like trying to stoke him up a little bit because he kind of knew that he shot the wrong bull at the time. Um, so we get up there and I'm like, man, that was a great shot. And I was like, where are you aiming? He's like, right behind the front shoulder. When we were cornering him out, he had a bullet hole right in the ear.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Oh my
I
gosh.
have a million other stories, but I want to hear yours here.
Yeah, so very kind of a similar situation. So this was Unit 16D, New Mexico rifle, the first rifle hunt. And if those of you guys who know New Mexico, that's the probably the premier hunt and for elk in New Mexico.
Okay.
Um, Another guide had hunted that area, that unit in the archery hunt before, and had seen about a 360 to 370 bull and said, hey, you might want to go check out this area. I had some other spots picked, but I was like, you know what, opening day, I want to go see if we can find this bull.
Yeah.
So me and the hunter, which by the way, this hunter had come the year before. I didn't guide him the year before, but he had shot muzzleloader. He shot a bull 9 times.
Oh,
And
wow.
I mean, in the foot, in the gut, in the butt, just kinda everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So when he shows up, he says, "Hey, you probably heard about me and my hunt last year." He goes, "I want you to know I showed up with better equipment this year." And so he's got a brand new rifle. I won't name the name because it wasn't their fault.
Yeah.
And he's got the best optics you could get. And he's like, that won't happen to me again. I'm like, all right, great. This guy's pumped. So of course we shoot the target the day before and make sure he's zeroed. Everything's good. Everything's great. Morning of the hunt, I would say 30 minutes into past legal hunting line. So I mean we're
Yeah.
well within hunting. I've got that bull feeding right towards us. No cows. He's by himself.
That's
The
awesome.
hunter is on sticks, 65 yards. Oh my gosh. 65 yards. Oh my gosh. 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 Oh my gosh big bull. He shoots, complete miss, complete miss. And so I'm just like, oh gosh,
Yep, I know
this is
that feeling.
this is going to be a long week. But I love the guy to death. Like we had so much fun.
Yeah.
Fast forward, it's the second to last day of the hunt. We tried to find that bull again, never turned him up. So we went to a new area that I'd found. And that morning, I found a really nice bull. I would probably call him like a 320 bull. And, for the second to last day of the hunt, and he's, feeling low. Um, it was a good bull.
Yeah.
So the bull and the cows kind of go over this little point and they bed on in the shade. And I say, hey, we're going to get up there. We're going to stay on top of the ridge and they're going to feed back in the afternoon, right back in that clearing where we saw them. But we'll be on top and we'll have a very close shot. So, very similar situation. It was less than 70 yards. He's on sticks. Sure enough, here come the cows that afternoon. They're filtering over. And I'm like, okay, do not shoot until I tell you to.
Yeah.
And so I see the bull coming. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to stop him because he's just going to keep moving. So I whistle at the bull, right? And he stops, looks at us, boom, drills him, and that bull just hits the ground. Like I call it, he was dead on contact, right?
Yeah.
And so we're hooting and hollering, yeah, you did it, good job. So we're kind of sitting there. We get up, start walking towards it. We probably cut the distance, down to we're probably 50 yards now. And that bull jumps up and takes off running. And I'm like, you've got to be
Oh.
kidding me. I'm like, put another one in him, put another one in him. And of course, it's Rust. He's trying to jack one in there. He shoots, he
Yeah.
misses. So we get over there. So you got to pay attention here, and everyone that's listening's got to pay attention. We get over there and we find blood, and there's bubbles in the blood, and there's bubbles on both or blood on both sides of the rock as it's running away. So
Okay.
I see that. I'm like, dude, you lunged him. Like he's hurt. Like he's not going to go very far.
Yeah.
We went 3/4 of a mile, and that blood still on both sides of the rock started to turn into pin drops. Okay,
Okay.
and the bull's heading towards water. And I said, you know what? We're going to back off. I think he's going to water. He's hurt. He's going to die down there. Let's pull back. I know it's a hard decision. We're going to get not a
Yeah,
lot
it
of good
is.
sleep tonight, right?
Yep.
Sleepless night. And we're going to come back tomorrow and we're going to find this bull. So that's what we do. Come back the next morning. And before we start heading towards the water, and we're right back where we first saw the bull. And I see the bull in the same spot with his cows. He's feeding, and there's no blood anywhere. And I was like, that's your bull. And he's like, there's no blood. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, but that is your bull. And him and I kind of went back and forth. He's like, how do you know? I'm like, "Yeah, you just know, right?"
Yep.
So we, the bull beds, we get above him and we shoot the bull out of his bed, and he's dead now. So after hearing that story, where do you think he had shot him? Remember, we're under 70 yards and there's blood on both sides of the rock. He dropped like a ton of bricks, bubbles in the blood. Where do you think he shot him?
Well, my first guess, he shot a cow, but that's not it because he dropped.
No, it was a
Um,
bull. He did shoot a bull.
I don't know. I'm hung up on the blood,
The
the
bubbles in
bubbles
the
in the
blood, right?
blood. Yeah.
He shot him
Uh,
in the nose.
oh my gosh. Really?
He shot him in the nose. It knocked him out. And
Whoa.
as he's running, he's breathing out of his nostrils,
Yep.
and
He's getting air in that blood.
he's getting air in that blood. And
Yep.
that's why and when I was looking at him the next morning, and I was only staring at his body. Why would I look at his face? That's 4 feet away from his vitals.
Yeah.
He
Was it
yeah,
just blown off?
it was pretty hammered. He was shooting a
Oh.
300 Ultra Mag.
Oh yeah, I can only imagine what that would do.
But
Wow.
I didn't even think to look at his face, and he was eating just fine, so I didn't think anything of it. So
It's
that
amazing those animals what they can take, you know?
oh, elk are just by far the toughest pound for pound critter,
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah,
But go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's another story or a testament of, okay, he had a good rifle.
Yep.
He was shooting Night Force optics. You can't get better, really. I mean, you can make an argument, but that's top of the line if you ask me.
Oh, yeah.
He had good ammunition, but what was the problem? The problem was his training, his
Yep.
whether that his ability to slow his heart rate down, his ability
Mhm.
to be steady. There's a lot of different factors into that.
Yep.
So that again, that's just another story of why we focus on developing the rifle, developing the ammunition, the load, and
Yep.
the hunter.
Yeah.
You can have good equipment, good rifle, good ammunition, and if the guy behind the trigger, um,
Yep.
if he doesn't have the training or experience, it's not gonna come together.
Yep. No, I agree with you. Like I said, I see it every year. We have guys up there, and it's the same thing you said. They come with better equipment than they had the year before, and they're still the same shot. It's not. I just and I will text them. I texted a few in April. I said hunting season's right around the corner. Get practicing. So okay. So I guess let me ask you this: if there's hunters out there, we'll say they're first time hunters that are coming to the West to elk hunt. What can they do um, at the range to make them more successful when the opportunity arises?
Um, First and foremost, I would say they need to dry fire their rifle more.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is they could be in their front, they're in their living room and pointing out towards their backyard or on their shooting range, whatever it is.
Yep.
When I'm guiding, especially youth hunters, I love guiding the youth hunters. I will have them, if the situation allows, I will have them dry fire on the animal that they're about to shoot. They're going to dry fire 3 times.
Oh, that
It
that's
w
awesome.
w and what it does is it's a it turns the process from an emotional connection to you and the rifle and the buck fever and
Yep.
everything that the hard work you just put into it, and it's the anticipation, like, I just, climbed this mountain, I've got this buck or this bull in my sights, and, I have to make this one shot count. There's a lot of emotion, there's a lot of pressure on it.
Yep.
But if you will have them or if they will dry fire 3 times, it now makes it a mechanical process and it separates the emotion. So that would be the first thing is
Okay. Yeah,
take the
they have
emotion out of it.
if you guys I know a lot of scopes have their focus distance is kind of far. But they have the DFAT system. I have one. I use it all the time in my garage. I stand 10 feet away and I can focus on the target. I'm right now, my mind's on NRL Hunter. So I have the steel targets on the print off thing, but they do deer targets. So that DFAT system works really great and it's cheap. It's probably, oh, I think it's like $130 or something.
Yeah.
But that is, I agree with you. And the reason why I'm dry firing so much right now is because I just built this new rifle that's right behind me. This one, 6.5 PRC, and it's just helping me get in tune with it. Get the feel for it. If I need, I'm just making it fit me. I've been messing with my cheek weld and all of that, and that's the dry fire. If you really pay attention when you pull that trigger, you can see the crosshairs just move barely to see where the pressure is on your guns. And that's what I've been playing with a lot lately. So I agree with you. I think that's a skill that no one. I think it's because it's boring. Maybe no one does it.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and it doesn't take. I probably do it 10 minutes a day. That's it, and it's helped me tremendously. Like I said, I went to the range this morning and shot, and I definitely could tell that I've been dry firing. My trigger press is way better than it has been.
Yeah.
So,
And you bring up a really good point though, and I don't want it to go overlooked is when you dry fire, if you are torquing the rifle in any
yep,
way, whether it's with your lead hand or with your shoulder and how much forward pressure you're putting,
yep,
when you pull that trigger, the point of impact or the point of aim should not move.
yeah,
But if it does, that little spring, that inertia from that trigger falling, if it's moving, you've got some work to do and how you're following through or how
yep,
you are accepting the rifle and getting on it. So I think that's a really good point.
yep,
But for me, it's more of um again, it's taking the emotion and turning it into a mechanical process.
yep. I agree with you. I like I said, I think dry firing is something that gets overlooked a lot, and the best part, it's free. Just go in your
It's
garage and do it.
completely free. Completely
Exactly.
free. It does
Yep.
not hurt your rifle. Those old wives' tale when our great grandparents were shooting muzzle loaders and muskets, yeah, you wouldn't want to do that. But these, center fire rifles, you're
Yeah.
totally fine.
Yep.
Dry fire the hell out of them.
Yep. I agree. I agree. Well, sweet. We went over a lot of hunting. I want to get into your builds here a little bit. So, how do you go? What's your process on a build? Does does someone just go on your website and pick what they want, or do they call you, or how does that work?
The easiest, we're in the process of updating our website, so it's going to get it's going to get a little bit more user friendly and interfacing with the customer.
Okay.
But the best way, and really, even when the website's done, really the best you can do is have a conversation with us, right? Give us
Yeah.
a call. We can have a discussion because th- I mean, the sky's the limit now with different cartridges. There's
Yep.
different lengths. Probably back when I was, I guess, 10, 15 years ago, and even beyond that, it was all about the longer barrel, right? 26, even 28
Yeah.
inches wasn't unheard of for a hunting rifle. But now we've got suppressors, which is a game changer.
It
And
is.
um, but I do think there is a point that uh, going you can go too small. But I don't want to necessarily get in that right now. But yeah, you could reach out to us. You can call us, find us online, haughtrifles.com, HAUGHT, not HOT. Um, and I've got that. We get that a few times, but yeah,
Oh, that's funny.
we yeah, our process is very simple. We're hunting driven. I like to
Okay.
put it like this. I was I've had some really good mentors in the rifle building, really in every aspect of my life, and those are people that I really admire and look up to.
Yep.
And the way that I build a rifle is very similar to what maybe an F class shooter or an F class builder does. Just the way that my process in building them, because
Okay.
it for me it's not. I I want my rifles to shoot well, not I think there's a point where precision and accuracy come together because they're not the same.
Yep.
Precision and accuracy, sorry if I'm moving the mic, precision and accuracy are not the same, but I want to blend them together.
Okay.
So little things, just a little attention to detail. We don't do any pre-fit barrels. Not that there's anything wrong with it. I've got several friends that are in the rifle building industry, some big names, and I respect the heck out of them. And they
Yep.
have a phenomenal product. I'm just a little different.
Yep.
Every rifle that goes out, every action, every barrel are married together. I index the barrel to the 12 o'clock position. So it's truly a custom fit. I don't build to off an action spec.
Okay.
I build to how the action arrives. And sometimes there is some tolerance, right? There could be a
Yep.
thousandths off here, thousandths off there on recoil lug or whatever it may be. And so, yeah, that's just a little bit about us. We're truly a custom rifle builder. No prefits. We could build on any platform. I really enjoy building off of Lone Peak and Defiance. There's some other good ones out there, but those are two probably the most popular that we build on.
Awesome. Yeah. I do. You find that not as many people are wanting a custom build with the prefits out? Because this 6.5 PRC, I built it myself in this garage, and it's got a prefit on it. Just I have
Yeah,
a barrel. I just torqued the barrel down. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But I
yeah.
have never done that before, so I wanted to do it. But do you find with all the prefits out now, and now that you can build your own rifle yourself, do you find a lot of people aren't getting the custom rifle, or what are you seeing with that?
That's a great question, and I would say two things. One, the guys like you and many other people who are phenomenal shooters, great competitors, great hunters, and that they do very well with them. And I say, awesome, that works great.
Yep.
So I do think that it is becoming, it's definitely a trend in and I think that's good for the industry, honestly.
Yeah.
However, and it's not right or wrong. It's just different. For me, it's not a custom rifle experience.
Yeah, I agree
Um,
with you that on that. Yeah.
and again, that's not right or wrong. It's just
Yep.
different. And I think most consumers of custom hunting rifles think they're getting a custom rifle
Yeah.
when the overwhelming majority of these rifles are based on prefits. And again,
Hmm.
nothing wrong with it. They shoot great, but that's not the experience that I'm doing. My experience is it's a pursuit of excellence. It's a pursuit of uh, your 800 something yards. You're a junior in high school and you got a world class bull in front of you. You got one shot. You're not going to miss.
You go
And,
make it
and it's
right. Yeah.
and it's not just because of the rifle. I want it to be about everything. It's the load.
Yeah.
It's the ammunition. It's the equipment and the training that goes with it. So,
Yep.
um, although I do think that prefits are, again, I've got several friends that make some they're rifle builders. They got great companies with great reputations, and I love and support them and anyone else. It's
Yep.
just a what we do is a different experience. It's a true custom experience. So, in terms of from a business standpoint, I think it's a little bit harder because I don't have rifles just sitting on the shelf all the time.
Yeah.
If it's truly a custom build, um, it's harder to just have rifles sitting and ready to ship. Although
Y-
we do have a few at any time that are available, but not in
Okay.
large quantities.
Oh, I
So I would
got you.
say that's
Okay.
the difference.
Okay. So if I call you up and want a rifle, what's the lead time on that? I know that the only reason why I ask that is because I know lead times for, we'll say, an action is pretty. So I mean, some of them are 8, 10 months out just for the action. So what's a
Right.
lead time if someone wants a custom rifle from you?
Right now, it's about 16 weeks.
Okay. Oh, that's pretty good.
If someone were to be in a jam and say, "Man, we've got this hunt coming up," and we have a conversation up front,
Y-
we could get it turned around a little bit quicker, maybe within a month's time. For
Wow,
me,
that's awesome.
the hardest part of procuring the different components is rifle stocks. I have the hardest time. Um,
Yep.
and maybe you've experienced that, or if you've got friends, but um, that just seems to be the hardest part of it. I can get barrels, I can get actions. The stocks are the hardest to get.
Stocks are, yeah, and I know, trust me, I wanted an MDT, HNT 26 on this stock because I built this gun specifically for, I drew a really good mule deer tag this year in Colorado, so I wanted to build something for it. My wife gave me the okay. It's awesome. uh, so
Shout out to your wife.
that's right. So yeah, I built this thing and I waited a little bit for that stock, and I had everything else, and I was waiting on the stock for a few weeks. So I know what you mean on that.
Yeah.
So, but so I want to ask you one more question about rifles. I think everyone really wants to go the lightest weight possible, and if they're shooting magnums, they don't know how to manage that recoil. So, what is the perfect? Obviously, it's caliber based and some other things, but if you were building you a rifle, what is the perfect weight for a rifle?
Um, Great question. For me, 11 and a half pounds.
11 and a
And
half.
I can
Yep.
11 and a half pounds. That's with optics, that's with suppressor, that's with the bipod,
Yeah, that's
that's everything,
everything. Yep.
everything. And I'm glad you bring that question up because when you start getting into the true magnums, right? And I wouldn't even consider like a 7 mag in that realm. It's close, but
Yep.
like 28 Nosler, the 300 PRCs, the 300
Yeah.
Win Mags, man, if you are a sub 9 pound rifle,
Thing is gonna.
uh, it's gonna thump you, and
Yep.
that's
It is.
and it's gonna train some bad habits and flinch it. And look,
Yep.
I shoot hundreds of rounds every week, and I had a trying to think the last couple rifles that I did load development for. I had a 300 Norma shooting the 215 burgers
Whew.
and the 300 at a 300 PRC. I think we were the 205 burgers, I think.
Okay.
And I tell you what, I would shoot that 300 Norma any day over that 300 PRC.
Really?
It it
Wow.
thumped. It thumped just
Yep.
because it was truly a lightweight rifle,
Yep.
and it was punishing. But
Yeah.
but And also keep in mind, I have no problem. I have a 30 nozzler that I built for myself. Um and I love taking cartridges and improving it and pushing the envelope a little bit. And that one
Yep.
has 200 thousandths of free bore added to it, so I can really seat those bullets out further and and optimize the case capacity.
Okay.
And actually, this deer that's above me here is a New Mexico buck that I killed, and we were about 3 miles from camp. Um, and it that rifle weighs 12 and a quarter pounds, and I have no problem packing it. I have no
Yep.
problem. And it has a 24-inch barrel with a 9-inch Thunder Beast Magnus suppressor on it. So if you think about how long it is,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'll even hunt. I do a lot of hunts horseback too. That
Okay.
doesn't bother me. It never bothers me. I've never said I wish this barrel was shorter. Now, I don't hunt with that all the time.
Yep.
For me, if a guy is hunting suppressed, um, I wouldn't go shorter than 22 inches. That's my opinion.
Yep.
A lot of my clients shoot 20 inches, but what I've seen, and you can, if you've got a barrel that's 20 inches or shorter, set your iPhone up and put it in video when you're shooting. Video the muzzle of the barrel and do it like a cross section. So if I'm shooting this way, have it the iPhone coming like this, videoing a
Okay.
side profile, and record in slow motion and watch how much your muzzle hops. It
Wow.
hops. And so
I could see that.
that's why I think that's why I don't like anything shorter than 22 inches.
Yeah. Yeah. I put a 22-inch on this. Obviously, this is just 6.5 PRC, so I don't have to worry about that. But I put a 22-inch barrel on it. I have a suppressor and I have a Recoil X brake on the suppressor, just because it helps me spot my impacts just that much more. It helps with that muzzle rise. So
Why is that important to you? I think people need to understand that.
that is important to me because when I shoot, I don't want to be turning around and being like, where did that hit? I want to be able, if I miss, I want to be able to see exactly where that bullet hit and make the correction for the next shot.
Absolutely.
Yep.
So important.
Yep, it is. And I just I don't know. The reason why I wanted to ask you about the lightweight question on the rifles is because I see a lot of people that are recoil shy, up there guiding. They have a 300 Win Mag and they have no brake on it or anything, and they are flinching before they even their fingers on the trigger. You know, so
Yeah.
and then I go to pick up the rifle and I'm just like, man, this thing's 8-9 pounds. Well, yeah, we're going to be hiking, and I'm like, just get a little bit stronger, you'll be all right. You
Yeah.
know?
You know, I didn't answer your question. I answered what was ideal for me.
Yeah,
What I think is ideal for the average consumer, the average hunter. Um, I think you want to be with everything on it, right? Suppressor, optics, bipod. I do think you probably want to be 10 sub 10 pounds for most people. Doesn't bother me, but I will say that people wanting to get below 8 pounds,
yeah. I mean,
7 pounds,
there's a time and place for that.
there
Those
is.
sheep hunts in Alaska, I get that.
Yep.
But
Yep.
just for your lower 48 elk, mule deer, antelope hunts, bear hunts, I agree 100% with you.
Yeah.
So,
Uh, I get asked a lot, and this is one thing that I'm really going to start marketing more towards. Is I've got 5 kids and three
okay.
boys, two
That's
girls,
awesome.
a wife, and we all love to hunt. I built a 6.5 PRC. Oh gosh, what was it? I'm gonna say 2020 for my daughter. She was 17 at the time. She had just got done with a severe illness. She was in the ICU for 10 days, lost a lot. She was having issues with her lungs, and she had a hunt. And what I learned was, and again, most clients will ask me like, "Hey, I want to build a rifle for my wife or kids. I want it lightweight. I want it this and that." I will
Yep.
tell you that's the wrong direction. You're going the wrong way.
Yep.
Make it heavier. And,
Yep.
and the reason why I say that is, okay, if you're with your wife or your daughter or your young kid and you're hiking up mountains, are you really going to make them pack it anyways? And
Nope.
maybe you are, but I'm not letting my wife or daughter pack their
Nope.
rifle. I'm going to pack it for them, right?
Yep. I carry my wife's
So
rifle every year unless she wants to
absolutely,
carry it.
Exactly,
Yep.
exactly. So I didn't build it, heavy on purpose, but I
Yeah.
didn't I didn't go and try to make it sub 8 pounds. It's a 9.5 pound rifle, and I
Yep.
will tell you, my daughter shot her first deer, which was a coos buck, and one shot. The recoil was amazing. It just worked for him. So anyone that's considering a rifle for your wife or kids, um, don't go lighter. You're going the wrong way.
Yep.
You can make it standard weight, not 8 9 pounds, but
Yeah.
don't try to go under 8 pounds.
I agree 100% with you. And since we're on the 6.5 PRC topic, I think a lot of people are afraid to shoot that caliber at an elk. But this gun, this one right here, this one hanging on the wall behind me, is a 6.5 PRC. Also, it's my wife's rifle, and that thing has killed 9 bulls because she can place that bullet right where she wants it, and she's a better shot than me. I'll admit it. It is unreal how good of a shot she is. 500 yards standing on a tripod. I'm just like, holy crap! But it's because she's not worried about the recoil. That gun is a little heavier. I think that gun's like 11 pounds. Um, but she is just so confident in where that bullet's going. And that's why we built that for her. So, yeah, it's
Yeah,
awesome.
the 6.5 PRC. I really think it's not that it's underrated because it's very popular,
Yeah,
but it's underrated for elk and bull
I
elk.
agree. Yep.
I had a youth hunter last year from Colorado. I hope he gets to watch this. We had a great time, and we had a bull at 520 yards. We had watched him all morning. He went up a mountain, went up a ridge, and we sat on him for hours, and this kid was just so diligent. Just scope was on where he last was, and 520 yards. And I tell you, he pulled the trigger and he smoked that bull,
Yeah,
and
it's awesome.
had a suppressor on it. It wasn't lightweight. It wasn't an ultralight rifle. It was in a tripod, so it doesn't matter how heavy it was, anyways, right?
Yep.
And he did a good job. He smoked that.
Yeah.
That video's on the Instagram of him shooting that bull. Um, so yeah, if anyone's considering like, oh, what rifle should I get, whether for my wife or my young kids, 6.5 PRC is at the top of my
Yeah.
list.
And don't go light. Make it heavy still. They'll
Yeah, yeah,
thank you.
make
They'll
it heavy.
thank you later.
Yeah, yeah. I,
Yep.
I would rather you make it a little bit heavier, and so it can shoot the 156 Barnes, or one of the heavies, anything north of 140 grains, and
Yep.
you'll be just fine.
Exactly. I agree. The 156 burgers, I love.
Oh
I
man,
love
they are
those.
incredible,
Yeah, they are, especially
incredible.
out of those things. So, all right. So since
What
we're
velocity? What velocity are you getting out of yours?
um, so this is it's going to speed up. Obviously, like I said, this is brand new. I just wrote down in my range book after I got back from the range. I only have 58 shots through it, so it's going to speed up. But right now, I'm at 2883.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So I obviously it'll speed up probably, I don't know, 30, 40 feet per second max.
Did you hand load for it or factory ammo?
So see the RCBS right there? I
Yep.
am just that was just factory ammo. I am getting into hand loading, and I am a so the reason why I want to is I don't like my ES and SD right now with the factory loads. So I'm getting into hand loading, and I guess I probably should because bolt and bone precision rifles precision comes with hand loading, and I just want I'm not worried about the speed, but I just want it to be, and it's not even more. I'm not even really worried about accuracy. I guess I just want to. I don't want to get a bad lot of ammo and it show. I guess if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I am just now getting into it, and it's perfect time because it brings me to my next question. How does your load development process look like for all the new guys like me?
Yeah. That's a great question. What's his name? He wrote a book recently. Ryan Kleckner. I love his stuff. I love his book. I've got both of them, and
Who
um,
is that again? I'm gonna have to look into
Ryan Kleckner.
Ryan
So
Kleckner.
his book
Okay.
is called the latest one is Advanced. Oh man, I'm sure he's gonna make fun of me if he sees this video, but um, what's it called? It's about long range shooting and precision shooting, right?
Okay.
And his take on it is that none of it because there's different ways. There's the OCW test, there's ladder test, there's celery test. There's all these
Yep.
different ways to come up with it. And his take is that that basically none of it necessarily works, but it all works because you end up in the same spot. His thing is just like go out and shoot. And I've done
Okay.
that. And I'm not saying that that's not right or that's wrong, but let me
Yep.
tell you what's worked for me. I have been the guy that's tried everything. I have gone out and shot hundreds of rounds to try to finally get to a spot where I'm like, okay, this is a good round.
Yep.
But now on a new rifle, I can get fairly close to like this is the load and this is the seating depth. This is everything. This is the recipe.
Yep.
Within about 40 rounds.
Wow, that's
Again,
good.
it's going to speed up. There's going to be a few tweaks here and there, but I'm 90% there. So what I do is I use a process called OCW, which stands for optimal charge weight. And my process, everyone's got a little bit of different tweak or what works for them.
Yep.
But basically, what I do is I find out what the max load is. To me, I want to know where pressure is. So
Yep.
I will shoot until I see the first signs of pressure, even if that's over the published max,
Okay.
even if it's under the published max, it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay.
Max.
So what do you start your charge weight on based on the max then? The
So,
published max.
kind of, we'll do the small print here, right? Is follow your load book, be safe,
Yeah.
and you can start wherever. For me, I start. I'll look at the max, the published max, and the published the minimum, and I will start about the middle, and I will go up in increments of a grain before I do anything. Before I even do really shooting at anything, so I just go out and shoot and find out where the max is. I've
Yep.
had some rifles where their max is under the published. And so whether that's a hard bolt lift, whether that's, the ejector, print on the brass, blown out primers. I mean, if you're blowing out primers, you went way too far.
Yeah.
You missed some signs before that. But, yeah, I want to know where max is, and
Okay.
then that gives me a starting point. So let's just say it's like a seven psalm. I do love the seven psalm, by the way. It's a great
Yeah, it
round.
is.
So let's say you're at 64 grains, 65 grains at H1000, whatever it may be. Um, and then what I like to do is I like to come off of that about 4 to 5 grains.
Okay.
And then so what I'll do is I'll load up. So just to make the math easier, let's say it's 65 grains is where my max is, where I start to see
Okay.
pressure. I will then I will load I will load 5 at 60, 3 at 61, 3 at 62, 3 at 64, 3 at 65.
Okay.
And the reason why I load 5 on the first one is the first 2 shots are going to be my sighters. I want to make sure that I'm very close to the bullseye. So
Yeah.
the two are just, I'm shooting a different target and I'm at my sighting bullseye um, and really just to kind of help my point of impact.
Okay.
And then what I do is, and I always let the barrel cool between each charge weight. So then I'll go shoot the target at 60 grains and I'm going to hold at the same place every single time.
Yep.
And I've got a printout. You could go online and Google OCW target, and it's all the same. For mine, I just put my logo and company name on it.
Okay.
Um, and it's a progression. There's 6 targets on a sheet of paper. So then the next one, I'll shoot at 60, shoot the 3 times, let the barrel cool, go to 61, shoot 3 times, let the barrel cool, and I'll progress. Right.
Okay.
And what's going to happen is you're going to see the grouping sides. And I don't care if the group is, half inch or 2 inches. Doesn't matter at this point. Does not matter. We'll fix that later. But I want to see, where is that bullet impacting relative to where the next set of bullets are. So I wish I had the ability, but I'll just use my finger. So if 60 is shooting here and 61 is shooting up here, and then 62 is shooting right here, and then 63 is shooting right here. Well, the least amount of variance up or down in elevation was between 61 and 62,
Yeah. So
right?
then do you go 61 and a half?
Yes, I will go 61 and a half, and
Okay.
because that's what we call a node.
Yeah.
And there's, and look, sometimes it'll jump, and I'm just talking in general terms.
Yeah.
But again, the target should tell you everything.
Hmm.
That's the only thing you should be paying attention to when you're doing load development. At this stage of the game, I don't really care what my chronograph is telling me. I don't really care what my standard deviation is. I do a little bit. Like I'm kind of like watching, like, okay, that's interesting, right?
Yep.
So once I have, let's say it's 61 and a half grains of powder, I will then come back and I got to back up a little bit. I always find um, what my max bullet length is, whether I'm restricted by the magazine length,
Hmm.
or if I've got the magazine length, I want to know where the lands are. So I
Okay.
make those measurements beforehand. And there's a couple of different ways to do it. Um, I have tried the with the Hornady overall length gauge.
Yep.
Um, and I and does it work? Yes, but I feel like I've got to try it 20 different times because I get
Yeah.
20 different numbers and then I just kind of average it, right?
Yep.
And I'm sure people have the same struggles, the same issues.
Yeah. You do
Um,
the jam
w-
test then?
I will, if it's a rifle. If it's not a rifle I built, I will typically do the jam test.
Okay.
I'll disassemble the bolt, pull the ejector out and the firing pin, and
Yep.
do it that way. My favorite way, and the reason why I say if it's a rifle I built is I, if I built a rifle, I have access to the barrel before it's even threaded on the
Yeah,
action.
exactly. Yep.
Have you seen Speedy Gonzalez do his testing on how he figures out what the 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 length to the lands are?
I might have watched it because I'm on a deep dive right now with reloading because I'm trying to learn everything. Is
Okay,
he the one that's with Eric Cortina?
he does do a lot with Eric
Okay.
Cortina. Yeah,
Yeah. I
yes,
probably watched it then.
yeah. So basically, what he does is he sets the length of the bullet, right,
Hmm.
and then with the raw barrel, the chambered barrel, but not threaded on, and then he just drops it. Um, and when you go to pull that brass out, it'll be really sticky. Like you almost can't get it. You almost need like a little screwdriver or something, a ramrod to push that bullet out. And you keep going until you can pull it out with your finger. And when you do, and of course, each time you're setting it back more, trying to figure out where it is, you can do 10 thousandths jump till
Yeah.
you kind of get it figured out. Um, but to me, that is if you want a true and accurate and repeatable. That's the interesting thing. Repeatable length, case base to ogives, what would be referred to. That's the way that I'm going to do it. And so
Okay.
on my
So
on my rifles, go ahead.
no, so go ahead. Sorry. I'm jumping ahead right now.
So I was just saying on my rifles that I build, I have access to it,
Yep.
where I don't have to take apart the gun to do that. I do that on all the rifles so that if the customer ever wants to know with a particular bullet, hey, this is what it was when I chambered it. So
Got it.
that's the way. And then for I'm a big and we could this almost could be a whole nother podcast, but
Yeah.
on bullet selection,
Yep.
I used to be a really big fan of Barnes bullets, and I am. I love Barnes bullets. They shoot very well. I did make the change to Berger. Um, and I will say, if you live in states like California, other places like that where you're required to use all solid copper, barns are awesome. And I hope I'm not getting off in the weeds, but
Yep.
I used to have the mindset where I wanted the animal, or if I was tracking the animal, I wanted blood on both sides of the rock. I wanted a deep penetration. I
Yep.
wanted an exit wound. And you know what? As I had a lot of experience. Remember, I've been guiding for 15 years. I've seen some stuff, right?
Yep.
And
I know where you're going with this.
I want that bullet completely dumping every ounce of
Of
energy
energy. Yep.
into that animal.
I agree with you 100%.
Rifles kill off of energy. Yes,
Yep.
you know, if it hits the heart, it clips the lung, whatever it is. Yes, that's a lethal shot,
Yep.
but it's the energy in those shock waves. If that bullet is exiting, it still has energy.
Exactly.
If we were archery hunting, that's what we want if we're archers,
Yep.
but we're rifle hunters. Let's dump the energy. That's
Yep.
what kills.
I agree 100%. The best shots is when that bullet is just right in the hide of the opposite side. 'Cause all that
Yep.
energy went right into it. Yep.
Yep.
I agree
Didn't
with you.
waste anything. So kind of off on a tangent there. So once I do that, so we decided on 61.5 grains of powder is our next thing. Then I know that um uh 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 the case bang to ogive, the length of the bullet before it touches the lands. On the burgers, I have found that I will end up probably being between 20 and 30 thousandths off the lands.
Okay.
But um okay, two things. If it's my rifle, I will I will not be afraid to shoot with the bullet touching the lands.
Okay.
If it's a client's rifle, I won't do it. I won't do it. There's too much that could go wrong. They could get a little bit of dust.
Yeah.
Um, you know, something may happen and that bullet gets stuck in those lands. That's not a great situation for
Yep.
for my clients. But for me, I have no problem doing that. And so what I will do is I will load 5 touching the lands, 5 10 thousandths off, 30 thousandths off, 40 thousandths, 50 thousandths.
Yep.
And I'll do that and I'll go and shoot.
Okay.
That is when I care about the group size.
Yep.
That is when I care about SDs. That is when I start caring about velocity and make sure that's, where I want to be.
Yep.
And that's where everything comes together
Okay. So
is in that seating depth test.
yeah, seating depth. So how does because sometimes your magazine kind of limits you from getting that bullet to touch the land. So how does that affect it? Do you see any effects on that? So you would basically just start with that your longest on your magazine, but then you go 10 thousandths back from that, right? That would be
I
your
would.
okay. So
I
how
would.
do you see anything that would affect it that way? So if you can't get close to that lands?
You know, okay, so no, every rifle should be able to shoot. If it's a well built rifle and you're using good components,
Yep.
you can make it shoot. We're going to get a little bit into theory, and we're going to get a little bit into maybe people call BS on what I'm about to say. But I know the really good shooters and people that I've talked to that are world class shooters will probably agree with me.
Okay.
Okay, we're going off on a deep dive here. When so let me ask you, why does the seating depth affect the group size or the accuracy of a load?
Chamber pressure and barrel harmonics.
Okay. Yes, the answer to that is yes. But let's talk about barrel harmonics.
Okay.
Why does the barrel harmonics change the accuracy and precision? Why does that change the grouping size?
Because it's trying to stabilize that bullet, right?
Kind of. Kind of.
Okay.
Okay. All right, here we go. The seating depth is literally you're affecting the length of time the bullet is in the barrel. Okay.
Okay. Makes sense.
Literally, because if it's further out there, it doesn't have to travel as far. If it's got a lot of jump, it's
Yep.
got to travel further. Okay.
Okay.
So I wish I had a pencil or something, but I'll use my finger. When you shoot your rifle, we're going to pretend my barrel is or my finger is the barrel. When you
Okay.
shoot your rifle, it's going to whip. It
Yep.
whips up and down, kind of like sound, right? It's got
Yeah.
wavelengths. Okay.
Yep.
Another way I like to put this is: have you ever done skeet shooting,
Yeah.
like
Not
with
very
like clay
much.
pigeons and shotgun? Okay. Um, when you're skeet shooting and you say pull, if you try to shoot right away, as that is moving away and climbing up, it's not a very forgiving shot. There's too much movement going on.
Yep.
If you wait too long and that skeet is starting to fall, now you're having to chase it down. The ideal time is to hit that skeet
Oh, it's
when it's dwelling, it's at its summit.
floating. Yeah.
It's no longer going up, it's no longer going down, it's dwelling in one spot.
Okay.
That's the most forgiving.
Yep.
Generally speaking, right? It's the most
Yep.
forgiving time. Your barrel's doing the same thing. Your barrel is whipping up and it's whipping down. So the question is, when are you timing the bullet to exit? Are you exiting on the way up, on the way down? Is it in a forgiving spot of the whip? Is it in a
Okay.
not forgiving spot of the whip? Is it repeatable? You're catching it at a repeatable spot in the barrel harmonics. So you were talking about chamber pressure. That's going to affect barrel harmonics,
Yep.
right? But your seating depth is what's affecting the barrel, not affecting the barrel harmonics. It's affecting the timing of the barrel harmonics.
Okay.
This, for me, again, a little bit controversial here. This is why I, every rifle that we build, we index in the 12 o'clock position. Okay.
Okay.
So what that means is, and people don't understand this. It doesn't matter what barrel manufacturer you buy from. I don't care how much money you spend. I don't care if it's Benchmark, Bartline, Proof. I mean, Hell's Canyon, all of them, and those are all phenomenal builds. We build on all of them,
Yep.
but every single one of them, when you indicate that barrel in a lathe, and you turn it on, and you go on our Instagram, you can see where we show this. That barrel's got whip. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's got a little bit of a banana curve to it. And this is an exaggeration, right?
Yep.
So if this is the breech hand and this is the muzzle, that's essentially what's going on, right?
Okay.
So the question is that in the 12 o'clock position? Is it over here? Is it
Uh,
over here? Is it over here? So that's going to change a few things.
yeah.
Um, my opinion, my opinion, if you were to go take like a, a cleaning rod for your rifle and stick it on the end of your to where the end of that cleaning that cleaning rod is taking at the end of your barrel, clamp it with like a wood clamp, like you're woodworking, and then put your finger on it, pull it in the 12 o'clock position, and then let it go.
See
Take your
which way
phone,
it whips.
take your phone and put it in slow mo and video it. And if it's in the if you put your finger in the 12 o'clock, pull it down to 6 o'clock and let it go, it will vibrate straight up and down, and then it'll go back to normal.
Okay.
Now, take your finger and put it in the 2 o'clock position and pull it down to say the 7 o'clock position and let it go. Here's what you're going to see. You're going to see an elliptical like this, and then gravity settles it in, and now it's
And
going up
then
and
it
down.
goes. So
Okay.
that's what that bullet's doing.
Essentially,
Yeah.
that's my thought and that's my theory on it. There's other reasons why you index at 12 o'clock, but for me, I think it even gets a little bit enhanced when you start to hang a suppressor on it. Now you just added a weight and
It
there's
is.
more force.
Yep.
And if you're running pre-fit barrels, you might get lucky. It's a very small chance that it'll ever be in the 12 o'clock position. Almost wouldn't happen, but I
Yep.
guess it could. But we index all of our barrels to 12 o'clock. And there's other reasons. Again, it's not just that. It's not just that, but that's just one little touch that I think that you can, if I can, in theory, if I can help ensure that that barrel is vibrating straight up and down and whipping straight up and down, as opposed to this, and I'm trying to time the exit of the bullet when it's here, it makes your job a little bit easier.
Yeah, exactly. What yeah. It makes sense. I've never heard of that before. Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
So,
So do you
so
see so do you see more whip in carbon barrels? I know it's a steel barrel wrapped in carbon, but do you see more whip in carbon barrels compared to just plain steel barrels?
I don't know if I'm smart enough to answer that. I'm sure there's someone who's got some really good machinery and good cameras. That's actually a great question. I'd love to know.
Yeah.
I I'm going to say it's probably the same. I don't think you're going to change it very much at all. But I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I'm just wondering because Obviously, you have more surface area on steel, which makes it more rigid. So,
I I will say though, I'm gonna say that, and I'm just guessing here. I want to say, yeah, there's probably is more whip on a carbon fiber because let me tell you why. This is my thought on it,
okay,
or my guess. If carbon fiber was superior, why aren't the F class shooters using them?
exactly. And the PRS
They're
guys
not,
and all of that.
and
Yeah.
they're not. They're not.
Yep.
It's not superior. Now they run through a lot more barrels, and so it's cheaper. It might be financially smarter,
Well,
but
that and it,
if there was a competitive advantage where a guy could, win and get that trophy or make a little more money by going to carbon fiber, they would.
yeah. Well, I mean, one reason is because it mitigates the heat better, and they're doing long strings of fire.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's probably why steel is their go-to, but there's got to be some more reasoning behind that. You'd think.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I think there's smarter people that can answer that than me.
yeah, I agree with you. Wow. Well, heck, man. I've had you for hour and 10 minutes now. I know that you're probably busy, so I'm gonna let you go. Um,
Awesome.
but thank you for coming on the podcast. Real quick, where can people find you at?
Yeah, you can find us online at www.haughtrifles.com, HAUGHT, or our Instagram at Hot Rifle Development. Maybe I should do more on Facebook, and I know it uploads everything to Facebook. Everything I go through is on Instagram. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, um, and then the outfitter I work for, G3 Outfitters, they are phenomenal. If anyone's looking for Arizona, New Mexico, Texas hunting, I would only work for one outfitter, and it's them. I just have so much uh, belief and trust and faith in the guys and the ownership and all the other guys. They do such a great job.
awesome, awesome. Well, there you go, guys. If you guys need a custom rifle, make sure to hit up Hot, not HOT, HAUGHT. And thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks, Cass.